All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to crack the code on a really important accounting rule that, let's be honest, can be a bit confusing: the lower of cost or market rule. You'll hear it called LCM for short. So let's get right to it.
So picture this. You're running a business, right? You've got shelves full of inventory you paid good money for. But then something happens. Maybe it gets a little damaged, or a new model makes it obsolete, or heck, maybe prices just tanked. Suddenly, it's not worth what you paid. So what do? How do you account for that loss? Well, that's the exact problem the LCM rule is built to solve.
You see, this whole thing boils down to a fundamental idea in accounting called conservatism. It's a simple but really powerful concept. You should never make your company look better than it actually is. That means you can't have assets on your books, like inventory, valued for more than they're truly worth.
And that brings us to the rule itself, lower of cost or market. Now pay attention here, because this is absolutely crucial. Under US GAAP, this specific version of the rule is only for companies using either the LIFO method, that's last in, first out, or the retail inventory method. If you're using FIFO or average cost, it's a slightly different ballgame.
Okay, so when we look at the name lower of cost or market, the cost part is easy, right? That's just what you paid for the stuff. But market, that's where the real puzzle is. It's not just one number you can look up.
To figure out what we call the designated market value, you actually have to juggle 3 different numbers. This is the absolute key to nailing the LCM rule, so let's break down each one.
Our starting point, our default number, is the current replacement cost, or CRC. Just think of it like this. If you had to go out and buy that exact same inventory today, what would it cost you? That number is your CRC.
But we can't just use that replacement cost by itself. It's got some guardrails. The first one is a ceiling, and that's the net realizable value, or NRV. This is the absolute highest value our market number is allowed to be. And the formula is super straightforward. Just take your estimated selling price and subtract any cost you'll have to pay to finish it and sell it.
And if there's a ceiling, you know there's got to be a floor. This is the lowest our market price can possibly go. To find it, you just take that NRV we just calculated and subtract your normal profit margin. This is really just to stop companies from writing inventory down so low that they create a giant artificial profit next year.
So what we have here is what I like to call the Goldilocks test. The market value we're trying to find can't be too high, that's our ceiling. It can't be too low, that's our floor. It has to be, you guessed it, just right.
So here's the game plan, step by step. First, you look at your current replacement cost. Is it higher than the ceiling? If it is, then the market value is the ceiling. Done. If not, you move to step 2. Is the CRC lower than the floor? If it is, then the market value is the floor. And if it's neither of those, if it's sitting nicely in between, then it's just right, and the market value is simply your current replacement cost.
Okay, that's a lot of theory, I get it. But seeing it in action is what makes it all click. So let's walk through a nice, clear example, just like you might see on an exam.
All right, here's our setup. We've got inventory that we originally paid $100,000 for. If we had to replace it today, it would cost $82,000. We figure we can sell it for a net of $90,000. And our normal profit on something like this is $5,000. We've got all the pieces of the puzzle.
Okay, first things first, we need to set our boundaries. The ceiling is our net realizable value, which the problem gave us. That's $90,000. Simple. The floor is that NRV minus the normal profit. So $90,000 minus $5,000 gives us a floor of $85,000.
Now it's time for the Goldilocks test. Our current replacement cost is $82,000. Is that above our $90,000 ceiling? Nope. Okay, so is it below our $85,000 floor? Yes, it is. It's too low. So our designated market value has to be the floor.
And there we have it, $85,000. This is the number we're going to use as our market value. See how we didn't use the $82,000 replacement cost? The floor rule stepped in and kept the value from dropping too far.
And now for the final showdown. It's the main event. We take our original historical cost of $100,000 and we put it head-to-head with the designated market value we just found, $85,000. The name of the rule tells us exactly what to do, lower of cost or market. We pick the lower one.
So our final inventory value is $85,000. That's the number that has to show up on the balance sheet. That original $100,000 cost, it's gone. If we kept it, we'd be overstating our assets, and that's a big no-no. Of course, this has a real impact on the company's profits.
That difference between the original cost and the new, lower value, $15,000 in this case, gets recognized as a loss on the income statement. It hits the bottom line.
Understanding the steps is one thing, but avoiding the common traps when you're under pressure is the real key. So let's wrap this up by focusing on how to get this right every single time.
Here are the 3 biggest mistakes I see people make. Number 1, they see the current replacement cost and just run with it, completely forgetting to do the Goldilocks test. You have to check the ceiling and floor. Number 2, they mix up NRV and market value. Remember, NRV is just the ceiling, not the final answer. And finally, they forget that this whole ceiling and floor process is specific to LIFO and the retail method.
So I want you to burn this into your brain. It's your 4-step memory key. 1, find NRV. That's your ceiling. 2, find the floor. 3, constrain the replacement cost. That's your Goldilocks test to find the true market value. And 4, compare that market value with your original cost and pick the lower of the two. That's the whole game.
And one last thing, and this is a big one. Under US GAAP, when you write down inventory like this, it is permanent. That new $85,000 value is now the official cost. Even if the market price bounces back up next month, you are not allowed to write the value back up.
So we've totally nailed the calculation. But I want to leave you with this thought. An inventory write-down isn't just a bunch of numbers in a ledger. It's a signal. It tells a story to investors about product demand, about market changes, maybe even about management decisions. So the next time you see a company take a write-down, ask yourself, what's the real story that this number is telling me?